The first unusual sign was the low, rasping groan from the edge of the clearing. A golden lioness lay motionless, one flank pressed against the dusty earth, her cubs huddled close and trembling. Her coat was matted with dried blood, and each shallow breath seemed a monumental effort. The man, Karim, froze for a heartbeat, heart tightening at the sight. He knelt slowly, keeping his distance, watching her lift her head just slightly. The cubs nudged her side, mewing softly, their eyes wide and frightened. Karim whispered, "It's okay? I won't hurt you," his voice almost swallowed by the wind through the tall grass. For several minutes, he simply observed, noting the shallow rise and fall of the lioness's chest, the trembling of her cubs, and the strange emptiness of the clearing around them. The silence held a weight that pressed on him. The usual calls of the savannah were muted as if the land itself was holding its breath. Karim made a careful choice. He fetched a blanket from his vehicle and approached with deliberate slowness. The lioness did not flee, but her ears twitched, her body tensed, and her eyes followed his every movement. The cubs inched forward, as if sensing safety in his calm presence. He draped the blanket gently over the lioness's side, murmuring encouragement. Once she seemed to accept the presence of the human, Karim led her toward the small shelter he had prepared. Step by step, inch by inch, he coaxed her along with quiet gestures, avoiding sudden movements. The cubs trailed, weaving between his legs and the lioness's body. Inside, the smell of hay and fresh water mingled with the earthy scent of the injured lioness, the contrast oddly comforting. As he settled her onto the soft bedding, the cubs nestled closer, their small bodies vibrating with nervous energy. Karim checked the injuries, scratches and a deep gash along her side, but avoided touching where it would cause pain. The lioness's golden eyes met his briefly, a silent acknowledgement passing between them. Night fell, and the clearing outside darkened to shadow and silver moonlight. The man brought water and food, placing it carefully just beyond the lioness's reach at first, then gradually closer. She sniffed, testing, then accepted it, eating with small, cautious movements. Her cubs mirrored her, tiny paws crunching on the sparse grains, tails flicking with relief. By dawn, the unthinkable happened. The lioness rose fully for the first time, her strength returning in small, trembling increments. She nudged her cubs toward Karim and the threshold of the open shelter, a gesture of trust that left him breathless. Together, the three lions stepped into the golden morning light, paws sinking softly into dew-laden grass. The man stepped back, giving them space, heart full yet quiet. The lioness paused, one last look cast toward him, a subtle acknowledgement of the shared night of vulnerability. Then she and her cubs melted into the tall grass, moving like shadows toward the distant horizon. Karim remained still long after, listening to the soft rustle of their retreat, carrying the memory of a fragile trust that had blossomed in the dark. The first sign came at dawn, a faint, distressed call that carried across the savannah like a fragile thread. Karim found the cubs alone at the edge of the shelter, their mother nowhere in sight. One little paw trembled as they huddled together, soft whimpers escaping their mouths. The lioness's absence left a tension that pressed against the morning air. He approached slowly, crouching to reduce his presence. "Don't be afraid," he whispered, barely moving his lips. The cubs tilted their heads, sniffing the air, ears flicking at every rustle of the tall grass. Karim noticed a trail of faint paw prints leading toward a shallow, sunlit glade, interrupted by scuffs and a streak of dried blood. The man followed cautiously, mindful of every sound. The lioness lay sprawled near a small, rocky outcrop, her golden coat dulled by dust and blood. She lifted her head weakly, muscles taut, eyes wary yet not hostile. Her cubs padded to her side, nudging and whimpering softly. Karim observed quietly, noting how her breathing had steadied since the night before. The injuries were serious, a deep gash along the shoulder and several smaller abrasions, but her body's subtle movements suggested resilience. The cubs circled her, their small bodies radiating nervous energy and tentative hope. He moved closer with measured steps, laying a clean blanket nearby. "Careful," he murmured, keeping his tone soft and even. The lioness flinched but did not retreat. Slowly, she allowed him to place water and freshly prepared food just beyond her reach. She sniffed the offerings, then began eating, her cubs following with small, hesitant bites. The morning wore on, and a quiet rhythm settled over the glade. Karim watched as the mother's posture relaxed incrementally, a visible sigh passing through her shoulders. The cubs began to play softly around her legs, tiny growls punctuated by bursts of tentative pouncing. A bond had formed, an unspoken understanding that the man meant no harm. Then came the unthinkable, a sudden movement in the distance. Another lioness, larger and leaner, emerged from the tree line, eyes sharp, ears angled back. The mother's body tensed instantly, protective instinct sharpening. The cubs froze, small bodies pressed against her. Kareem held still, letting nature take its course. Instead of aggression, the newcomer paused, sniffing the air. The two lionesses exchanged slow, deliberate gestures, a nudge of the head, a flick of the tail, then settled in near one another, a silent acknowledgement of shared care for the cubs. Kareem's breath caught. He had never witnessed such a delicate, wordless negotiation of trust. By afternoon, the mother rose fully, stepping toward the water with her cubs close at heel. The newcomer followed, careful, respectful, a quiet peace settling across the glade. Kareem stepped back, feeling the full weight of the moment, a fragile harmony restored, earned through patience, observation, and the careful building of trust. As the sun dipped low, casting long shadows across the grass, Kareem lingered in silence. The lions drank, the cubs played, and a gentle wind carried the scent of wildflowers and earth. The unthinkable had happened, connections forged without force, trust earned in small, careful measures. A sudden rustle in the tall grass froze Kareem. The mother lioness stiffened instantly, ears flicking, muscles coiled. Her cubs pressed close, bodies trembling, tails low. Something unusual had entered the clearing. From the shadows emerged a wild dog, thin, gaunt, and desperate, circling cautiously at the edge. Its bark was sharp and urgent, slicing through the morning stillness. The lioness growled, a deep, resonant vibration that ran through the earth beneath Kareem's feet. The cubs huddled closer, tiny bodies pressed against her side, eyes wide with both fear and trust. Kareem stayed perfectly still, hands low, voice barely above a whisper. "Easy, it's all right," he murmured. The lioness's gaze never wavered, calculating and poised, muscles tense for defense. She did not panic, yet every movement radiated alertness, readiness, and protective instinct. The wild dog lunged suddenly at the cubs, teeth snapping. The mother reacted instantly, barreling forward in a blur of gold and power. The dog yelped and vanished into the shadows, leaving only the echo of its warning behind. The cubs shook but did not cry. Their mother nudged them gently, brushing her head against theirs, a subtle vibration of reassurance calming them completely. Kareem exhaled slowly. The mother's shoulders showed strain, movements cautious. The cubs' tails flicked nervously. He retrieved a damp cloth and laid it near her carefully. She rubbed against it cautiously, accepting the small gesture of comfort. Kareem observed the quiet rhythm of the family, noticing the slight tremble in the cubs' paws and the slow, steady breaths of their mother. Hours passed in quiet vigilance. The cubs explored the clearing with tentative curiosity, ears alert, paws soft against the earth. The mother shifted, muscles relaxing, settling beside them, half closing her eyes in rare calm. Kareem understood that patience, careful observation, and subtle gestures of care had earned this fragile peace. The wind stirred through the tall grass, carrying the scent of dry earth and distant acacia blossoms, and even the birds seemed to observe the tense calm with quiet caution. From the distant tree line, a massive male lion appeared, his golden coat glimmering in the late afternoon sun. The mother stiffened, cubs pressing tightly to her sides. Kareem's heartbeat quickened, he could feel the tension vibrating through the clearing. The male approached slowly, nose twitching, eyes locked on the family. The air itself seemed to hold its breath. Then, astonishingly, he lowered his head, a deliberate gesture of recognition. The mother rose, circling him with precise, measured movements, muscles tense but controlled. After tense moments, the male nudged the cubs gently, silently accepting them. Boundaries had been tested, trust confirmed, and the family remained intact. As the sun dipped low, casting long shadows across the clearing, the lions moved together. The cubs frolicked cautiously, mother beside them, male protective behind. Kareem stepped back, a quiet smile crossing his face, witnessing the fragile bond now solidified. The clearing fell silent, only the wind rustling the tall grass. The family disappeared into the golden haze of the savannah. Kareem lingered, heart full, carrying the memory of trust, patience, and careful care that had produced this extraordinary harmony. A tense silence hung over the clearing as the sun dipped low, painting the savannah in gold and shadow. The cubs played cautiously, their small paws stirring the dry earth. The mother lioness stayed close, muscles taut, eyes scanning every movement beyond the tall grass. Kareem watched from a distance, heart tight, knowing that even in this fragile peace, danger could arrive without warning. A distant snapping of twigs caused the cubs to freeze. Their ears twitched, tails lowered. The lioness rose immediately, chest pressing to the ground in a silent warning. Kareem felt the air shift, the faint scent of rain mingled with something darker, another predator lingering nearby. From the shadows of the acacia trees, a lone hyena appeared. Its eyes glimmered in the fading light, teeth bared in a silent grin. The cubs whimpered softly, pressing to their mother's legs. The lioness growled, a low, vibrating sound that resonated across the clearing. Every muscle in her body tensed as she positioned herself between Kareem and the hyena, her stance protective yet calm. Kareem remained still, careful not to make sudden movements. He whispered softly, "Stay calm," his words were more for himself than for the animals. The hyena circled, sniffing the air, hesitant yet daring. The cubs crouched, unsure, while the mother's gaze never wavered. Suddenly, the hyena lunged toward the nearest cub. In a flash, the lioness sprang forward, muscles coiling and releasing with breathtaking power. The hyena yelped, retreating toward the tree line, wary now of her precision and strength. The cubs trembled but did not cry. Their mother nudged them, a reassuring gesture, letting them know the danger had passed, for now. Kareem exhaled slowly, realizing how close the threat had come. The mother limped slightly from a hidden thorn, but her stance remained resolute. The cubs followed her lead, exploring their surroundings again, ears alert, tails low but moving. Kareem moved closer, careful to maintain respect for their space, setting out a small water dish for them to drink without causing alarm. Hours passed as the family settled once more into the clearing. The cubs played softly around their mother, occasionally stopping to glance toward the shadows. The sun continued its descent, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. A gentle wind rustled the dry grass, carrying the faint scent of earth and distant blooms. Kareem observed, heart racing but grateful, understanding the delicate balance between patience, caution, and trust. Then, from a hidden ridge above, a new movement caught his eye. Another adult lion, this one unfamiliar, emerged slowly, eyes locked on the family. The mother stiffened, ears angled back, body low to the ground. Kareem held his breath. The cubs pressed tightly to her sides. Instead of a challenge, the newcomer paused, sniffing the air, careful and deliberate. The mother's growl softened into a low rumble, a cautious negotiation. After moments that felt like an eternity, the lion allowed the family to remain, stepping back into the shadowed trees. Kareem realized that trust and calm had once again prevailed over fear. As night fell, the cubs curled close to their mother, exhausted but safe. The male from earlier rejoined them from the distant trees, and the family's unity remained intact. Kareem stepped back, feeling a quiet awe at the resilience of the animals and the fragile trust they had all learned to share. The wind carried the faint echo of their presence across the savannah, a soft, lasting memory of survival, patience, and careful care. The first light of dawn stretched across the savannah, softening the shadows that had lingered through the night. The lion cub stirred, pressing close to their mother. Her limp shoulder ached slightly, but her vigilance never wavered. Kareem knelt quietly nearby, heart full, aware that today could mark the final moment of his close watch over the family. A gentle breeze carried the scent of distant water and the faint aroma of wildflowers. The cubs padded carefully over the dry earth, ears twitching, tails flicking as they explored the clearing. Their mother's eyes never left them, every subtle movement protective, every breath measured. Kareem watched, noting the rhythm of the family, the quiet trust that had grown over weeks of careful observation and gentle care. Suddenly, a low rumble echoed across the plain. The male lion from earlier emerged from the tree line, his golden coat catching the rising sun. The mother stiffened, cubs pressing against her sides. Kareem's pulse quickened. He held his breath as the male approached cautiously, head low, eyes scanning the surroundings. Instead of confrontation, the male brushed gently against the cubs, a silent gesture of reassurance and unity. The mother relaxed slightly, muscles uncoiling, and the cubs stepped forward, tentative but confident. Kareem exhaled slowly, feeling the rare beauty of trust and harmony in the wild. Hours passed as the family moved together through the clearing. The cubs played under the watchful eyes of their parents, darting through the grass, tails flicking, ears alert. The mother occasionally limped but remained steady, each careful step a testament to her resilience. Kareem followed at a respectful distance, offering only quiet presence, careful not to intrude. Then, from the horizon, a shimmer of sunlight highlighted a distant herd of antelope. The lioness's ears twitched, muscles tightening momentarily. The cubs froze, sensing her alertness. Kareem noted the moment, understanding that instinct, patience, and observation had become second nature for both the family and himself. With a soft nudge from the mother, the cubs moved along the edge of the clearing, exploring, learning, living. The male followed closely behind, protective but gentle. Kareem stepped back, feeling the bittersweet pull of farewell. The family had grown strong, independent, and yet their bond with him remained unspoken, fragile, and enduring. As the sun climbed higher, painting the savannah in warm gold, the lion family disappeared into the long grass. The cubs paused once, looking back briefly toward Kareem. Their mother's gaze met his, and in that fleeting moment, a quiet understanding passed between human and wild. No words were needed. The trust, patience, and care of weeks had been acknowledged silently. The clearing grew still. Only the wind whispered through the grass, carrying the memory of the family's presence. Kareem lingered, heart full, knowing that he had witnessed something extraordinary, the delicate dance of trust, the resilience of life, and the quiet strength of bonds that crossed species. The savannah held its breath, and then slowly, the rhythm of the wild continued, steady, enduring, and endlessly beautiful.